Hello friends, this is Bappa. So welcome to our IoT tutorial series once again. Today we'll talk about batteries and power management. Because this is a big topic, we'll cover it in two parts. In the first part, that is today, we'll learn various types of batteries, their usage and their pros and cons. And also we'll learn how to use Ohm's law to calculate percentage battery remain in a device which is placed remotely, because it is a very important information to know when to change your battery or charge your device. Okay, and in the next part, which will be published very soon, we'll come to know how to measure current flow, and then how to calculate battery life using those current flow measurement using milliamp hours. Okay, and also lastly we'll know how to enhance your battery life using various hardware and software modifications. Okay, so stay tuned and please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you can know when this second part become live. Okay, so let's begin. So these are the most common batteries found in IoT projects. So this is the everyday battery, we see them everywhere, AA 1.5 volt non-rechargeable. This is another AA non-rechargeable battery, Duracell, but it is much better in terms of life. So this Duracell is also AA 1.5 volt and minimum 1500 milliamp hour. Okay, so you can put 4 in series and make it 6 volts and run your 5 volt projects. Okay, now we go to this rechargeable battery. This is a nickel MH battery, NOLEB battery. So if you see, it has got 1.2 volt and minimum 1900 milliamp hour. So these are very good batteries. Then we come to these batteries. When you start doing IoT project, you see these batteries a lot in tutorials. These are 9 volt battery, but they cannot deliver much current, so we'll talk about that in a one pager. Okay, because of internal resistance of each battery, they have some limited capacity of maximum current draw. Okay, here is a common battery. This is called this is CR2032, commonly known as coin cell, button cell. These are 3 volt batteries, and when current draw is very low, you can use this kind of battery. So like it is used here in a RTC module. Okay, these are very common and popular nowadays. LiPo batteries come with some protection circuit. This circuit protected from over discharge, overcharge, and also from short circuit. Okay, so the LiPos are normally 3.7 volt, and this is 1500 milliamp hour. There's another LiPo, it is 2200 milliamp hour. There's another one which is 2800 milliamp hour, but don't believe on them because they are fake many a times. So with such thin battery, you cannot deliver 2800 milliamp hour. Such thickness is very good for our compact projects, but this battery don't pack really that much of energy. Okay, so next very good type of battery is lithium ion. These are also very common. This is called 18650. These are also 3.7 volt, and it has got 8.14 watt hour. We can convert that into milliamp hour. Okay, so you can use these batteries with this kind of casing. So there are leads in that casing, you can put them, and then you can use this plus minus leads, because shouldering on top of it and here is a bit difficult. Sometimes these casings come with some protection circuit similar like LiPo, so you can use them. They sometimes have CCCV charger included also with this. So if you have a 5 volt project and you 3.7 volt don't work, then you can use 2 of them and use with such a casing. Okay, also they are available in 2 together, so you can use them as well. Okay, some of the lithium ion batteries come with 3 leads, like here you can see the 3 leads here. So third one is most commonly used for thermal protection. So you can see many mobile phone batteries, they come with such 3 leads. So here if you see plus minus, and third lead is for thermal protection. And the best and easiest is I won't say best, but easiest is this USB chargers, power banks, because you can charge them very easily. Okay, so you can use them as well. You need not bother about the charging circuit for the battery. Okay, and there is another kind of battery, a lead acid battery. Let us have a look in the laptop. This is a lead acid battery. So they are available in different spec, like this is 6 volt 5 ampere hour, so they certainly have bigger capacity. This is another one, this has got 12 volt and 5 ampere hour. So these are certainly heavy and it has got a higher capacity. So when to use what battery? So this is a very good example of an use case. So this is a weighing device. Okay, this is a stationary device, and this load cell, whenever something is kept, it takes the weight, okay, and sent to this remote unit. Okay, so they walk up to 1 kilometer. Okay, so the thing is, this is stationary, this can be heavy, this is near a platform, this can be heavy, not a problem, but cannot be charged regularly. So this is a lead acid battery, and this similar kind of lead acid battery is inside, because if it is heavy, I don't care, but this thing need to be light, because the operator will carry it every day with him, and he can sit anywhere. But the thing is, because it is light, he can charge it every day, so the battery capacity need not be more, but it has to be light here. But here it can be heavy battery, but it should work for longer duration on a single charge, because charging here near the platform is not very easy. So that is what are the things you need to consider when you are choosing battery for your application. Okay, now let us move to different battery types. Okay, so you see here, these are the different battery types. The first one is coin cell. I'll share this sheet with you, so also it is available in the YouTube video also, so you can see it here. So these are the typical capacity of this battery, these are the voltage they carry, and these are the maximum discharge current. So each battery has got a maximum discharge current, because it has, all the batteries has got some internal resistance, so because of that it cannot give you more current than this. So everyone has some limitation. So you can see this kind of 9-volt batteries, the one I showing you, this can maximum give you 800 milliamp hour, sorry, not hour, 800 milliamp, but just don't take it as it is, just make it half, and that is what is the safe value to consider when you are designing. Okay, you look at AA batteries, they can give up to 2 amp, but maybe it is not actually on 1.5 amp or 1 amp is very safe assumption. Okay, so you can use this in high ampere applications where the current need is high. Okay, and another misconception is when we make it 6 volt by putting 4 AA batteries in series. Okay, so it don't become 12,000 milliamp hour, I mean 3000 into 4, it remain 3000 milliamp hour. You can read it here. So if you put 1.5 volt battery in series, the capacity should still be 2000 milliamp hour, but it can drive a load of 6 volt. Okay, and it can drive against 6 volt load and not against 1.5 volt load. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Now we'll have a look at the Ohm's law. But why we need to look at Ohm's law? Because we want to know our battery percentage remain. So that for that we need to sense our battery voltage. We do that through this analog pin on the microcontroller. This battery voltage is fed to this analog pin, and this analog pin then can sense, and then we can back calculate to get the battery voltage. So but this analog pin is cannot tolerate any voltage you provide. So for ESP8266 it is maximum 1 volt that you can apply to this pin. For Node MCU, this is for bare ESP. For Node MCU it is 3.3 volt. Okay, so but you have the battery, and you can have battery of 5 volt, 6 volt, 12 volt, 20 volt, or any other volt. So you need to ensure that this not more than 1 volt is fed to this analog pin, right? So how that is achieved? That is achieved through a voltage divider circuit. So what is a voltage divider circuit? So we will come to that. So that is where this Ohm's law come in. So Ohm's law say voltage, V is for voltage, is I is for current, and R is for resistance. So Ohm's law says voltage is current time resistance. So this is used in the voltage divider circuit. Okay, so now I will draw a voltage divider circuit here. So this is our battery. Say this is a V volt battery. Okay, this side plus and this side minus. So voltage divider is like this. There is one resistance R1 and then another resistance R2. Okay, and in between there is a point. This point actually goes to the analog pin of the microcontroller. Okay, but the microcontroller cannot resist more than 1 volt. Okay, so we need to make sure that this voltage, so this is practically grounded or common, so we need to take care. So this voltage V2 is not more than 1 volt. So this voltage and this is V1. So our task is to calculate proper value of R1 and R2 so that this voltage don't exceed 1 volt. Okay, so how to do that? So Ohm's law says V is equal to IR. So what is I? Is the current that is flowing through this whole circuit. So if we follow that, so I is equal to V by R. Total resistance is R1 plus R2. R1 plus R2. Similarly, we can say the same current is flowing through all the resistance. So here we can say V1 is equal to I into R1. The current is same. That means from here I is equal to V1 by R1. Similarly, V2 is equal to I into R2. That means from here I is equal to V2 by R2. So now this I and this I are all same. So we can equate V by R1 plus R2 is equal to V1 by R1. That means V1 is equal to V by R1 plus R2 into, or you can write the R1 here, into V. So that means if this is a 3 kilo ohm resistor and here you have a 2 kilo ohm resistor and this is a 5 volt battery, then what will happen? Then V1 volt drop here is equal to 3 by 3 plus 2, 5 into 5 volt battery is equal to 3. So the remaining 2 volt drops here in the V2. So we can also do that similarly. So V2 would be equal to R by total resistance into V, R2. So 2 by 5 into 5 is equal to 2 volt. Okay, so now you get 2 volt here. That means, so the thing is, it's very easy thing is V1 by V2 is equal to practically R1 by R2. We just need to keep in mind that. So the volt drop here is proportional to this resistance. So these are proportional. Okay, so if I want only 1 volt in here, so what I need to do, I need to put a 4k resistor here and 1k resistor here. So 4 volt will drop here and we get only 1 volt across this. Okay, so this is where Ohm's law come in. So we will use this practically in an exercise. So let's go ahead. So we will now do some practical using our Vistry board. So in Vistry board we have already built in voltage divider. So you can see this is the battery volt V in that goes through a 510k ohm resistor. Okay, and in the ground side we have 100 kilo ohm resistor, and then using a jumper we connect to the A0 pin. So it's A0 for ESP8266 and it is 34 for ESP32. So why this jumper? Because if you don't want to connect use this voltage divider circuit, you can just open up this jumper and use your analog pin as you want to use. Okay, and the other thing is these resistors are all through hole resistor, so you can change these resistor values if your battery voltage is something different or you have some other plans in mind. Okay, so let us go to the practical now. So let us begin with some practicals. So I have added connected the Vistry board through this USB cable to my laptop. So here is a view of the board and we are using ESP8266. Okay, bare ESP8266, so we cannot apply more than 1 volt to its analog pin. And here is the code that is running in this ESP8266. So we have called this, name this pin A0 analog in, and we have taken a integer variable reading in 0. We started the serial and now we are reading in the loop, we are continuously reading this analog in. So whatever voltage is connected to this analog pin, we are reading that and we are just simply serial writing. So let us see what is being written on the serial monitor. Okay, so currently it is showing something 10, 12, 4 because the connection is not made from the battery voltage to the ESP8266. So what we'll do, we will connect this battery voltage from here to our analog in pin. Okay, so now let us see what is the change in the value. So you see it is showing almost 864, 865. So laptop is providing 5 volt to the board and this 5 volt corresponds to this value of 860 probably. Okay, so because this is a 10 bit analog, so maximum can be 1024 if it provides it total 1 volt, then it will show 1024. Up 0 for 0 volt it will show 0. So that is the ideal case. So now let us see what happens if some voltage is applied in between. So we can see that in serial plotter, that gives a very good view. So here you see when it is 5 volt, it is showing something near from 845 to 865, and when we remove the battery, so I am removing here, so you can see it drops down to 0, almost 0. So please bear with me, this camera is a bit slow. Okay, and so what we'll do, we'll now add some voltage which is in between, because I cannot regulate the laptop voltage. So I am using some resistors like this. So through this resistor will connect to the analog in pin. So this resistor will drop some voltage. So let us see. So I am having different value resistors. So now let us connect to the analog in, and now let us see. So you see it is showing something in between. And now let me put a different resistor value. So by the way, these resistors are 2 mega ohm, 3 mega ohm range resistors. So now let me put in this is probably a higher value. So you see the voltage is yet lower. So you get different voltage, different reading for different voltages. So this is the way how you should calculate the battery voltage reading, and these values you can send through the network to the cloud. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this video. So please subscribe to support, and also press the bell icon so that you come to know when the next video is done and made live. So that's it. Thank you very much.